black and white. Cause when the jungle come alive, who day we ignite and Cincinnati, we gon' rise and in the jungle we unite and drippin' orange and black and white. Who day when we fight, live and die in these stripes. Wake up the beast, every day is a feast. Time to bust it off the leash. In the jungle drippin' heat, tigers strike the city streets. East side stand up, west side stand up. If you reppin' who day, time to put your hands up. Bengals stripes, we in it. New day, new age, yeah, we get it. Cincinnati jungle fit it. Who day in our house, we win it. Orange and black and white, we build it. Earn our stripes, you know we kill it. Bleed our colors, jungle drippin'. Nasty natty, yeah, we live it. Lit the crowd, get the city loud. Yeah, we feastin' now. Fit the pounce, make the city howl. Now we beastin' now. Thunder through the tunnel, from the sideline to the huddle. Stripes we tatted on the jungle when we flex that who they muscle on them. Stripes, Cincinnati, we gon' rise and in the jungle we unite and drippin' orange and black and white. All day when we fight, live and die in these stripes. Now who gotta move like it on? Now who wanna move crossing on? Now who wanna move on? If you got stripes and you let the city know you rock 'em, yeah we got 'em, yeah we fought 'em. Like that black and orange upon 'em, bingo bottle, never stop it till the beast and know 'em. Who they rockin' with the diamond stripes, flossing on the ring. Cincinnati, she's our queen, we gon' show the world who king. Orange in the day, black in the night. Stripes in our veins, sparks gonna fly. The beast is awake, orange, black and white. Cause when the jungle come alive, who day we ignite and Cincinnati, we gon' rise and in the jungle we unite and drippin' orange and black and white. Who day when we fight, live and die in these stripes. Now who gotta move like it on? Now who wanna move crossing on? Now who wanna move on? Who day when we fight, live and die in these stripes.
Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to the show. This is Sports with Strawberry Ice. I'm your host, the Iceman, Jeff Trunapole. And as always, I'm bringing you sports from a West Side point of view right here in the great city of Cincinnati, Ohio, home of Jackpot Joey Burrow and the AFC champion Cincinnati Bengals. Now do me a favor, if you found the show, hit that like and subscribe button. Smash that thumbs up. I'm up to 1,707 subscribers. Sorry, I look discombobulated right now. Anyway, I appreciate every single one of you guys. Now, if you're watching me on Facebook or YouTube, or Twitter, and you have yet to subscribe to my channel, please do so. Please go to Sports with Strawberry Ice. Hit the subscription button, hit the bell for the notification, and every time I go live, you'll be notified. Also, exclusively in the YouTube chat crew, we're doing super chats. So if you want to make sure your comment gets read or just want to support what I'm doing, give me a super chat or super sticker, super thanks, or whatever else I got there. I greatly appreciate it. And as always, I'm coming to you live from the Ice Cave, and the Ice Cave is brought to you by T Properties. T Properties, quality housing for quality people. Check out the website at www.tpropertiesllc.com for all your rental property management needs and your rental needs. What's up to everybody in this chat crew? Stranger, what's going on? Haas, I see you. Charlie, what's up? Longhorn, what's up, man? One Nation, I see you. And my boy Augie. What's going on, guys? Welcome to the show. Let's get this thing started. I had an interesting thing that Keyshawn Johnson had to say about the Cincinnati Bengals. And, of course, he's a hater. We know he's a hater, and he's just doing that to get clickbaits. But it worked, and when you say something dumb, I got to call you out. So, to back me up, I brought my boy Blake Jewell on. Let's get to Blake. Blake, what's going on, brother?
Not much. What's going on with you?
Oh, nothing. Just chilling, getting ready for a Bengals season. I actually went down to practice today and stood in the rain, and they weren't coming outside. So,
Yeah.
I kind of wasted the trip there because everybody's like, well, how do you know when they're out there? I'm like, I don't always know. Sometimes I go and I just look like an idiot standing there waiting for them to walk out, and they don't come out. So, anyway, what's going on with you, man?
Not a whole lot. Just got home. Been doing a little. Started up a YouTube channel of my own, so
I heard
to get you on there sometime.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. You had Mike Hilton on your podcast not that long ago. That was a good get.
Yeah, he was pretty great to talk to. It was one of the cooler interviews I've had. Pretty, or just a really nice guy. We had some technical issues, and he was just working hard on his end too to be able to do it. So he wanted to make sure everything was good, and we'll be doing it again in the future too. So hopefully by that time I'll have the YouTube channel going. I can do something like this with him where it's camera, not just
Right.
audio. So we talked about it. We'll be doing it again. So next time hopefully it'll be a little better quality.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Yeah, I'm keep trying to get him on my show too. He's got my card and everything. So we'll see what happens. But hey, I think it's awesome that the Bengal players are getting on local podcasts because I know Cincinnati, they had Eli Apple on. You've had Mike Hilton on. I had yesterday I had Darren Simmons on, and before I had Deontay Smith. I keep saying Deontay Smith. So I mean, they're starting to reach out and get on different local podcasts. I think that's great.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say who yet because we haven't recorded it, but I got another one coming up with a Bengals player, and the only hint you'll get is defensive back. So once we get that one figured out, I was planning on doing it last week. Had something come up, I couldn't get it done the day we planned, but I told him we'll be back in touch this week and hopefully try to get something figured out. So hopefully soon I'll have an interview. Like I said, the only hit I can give out right now is defensive back.
Ooh, that sounds good. I can't wait for that one. Like I said, dude, I'm working on Ted Karras. I'm working on Eli. I'm working on Mike Hilton. I'm working on Hayden Hurst. All these guys got my cards. They all said they come on. I'm working on, I don't know if that's going to Now, I'll put it this way. I actually talked to Joe this week in practice. I said, hey, if you're bored again, you want to jump on a podcast, I got mine. I have my card right there. And he's smiling. He goes, you got a podcast? I said, yeah. I said, you want to come on sometime? Hey. And he goes, no, I'm good. I'm like, I was that close. I was that close. I'm like, man. Anyway, let's get into this thing that Keyshawn Johnson said, I guess, earlier today or whatever. Keyshawn, I hate to give him any props, but it's kind of a slow day with the Bengals. But interesting. It goes to the narrative of, people are saying last year was a fluke and we're going to prove them wrong. But anyway, Keyshawn, like I said, he's a big talking head. Let's just check out this clip. What he had to say.
There was probably about 4 to 5 games throughout the regular season could have swung either way for them, and it swung on their side. Then you get into the playoffs. That Las Vegas Raider playoff game could have very easily gone their way. And people say, well, how could you say that? They went to the AFC Championship, they beat Kansas City. Oh, my God, they took care of business, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, but every now and then you get on a little magical ride and you become the Cinderella story. And everybody likes Joe Burrow because he wore a chain and he's got some swag to him. And we put a lot of yeast on that sort of stuff. But let's be honest. Let's see now where these defensive coordinators across the league, they have a different book on you now. You have more film out there. They've had all offseason. Those older statement defensive coordinators with a little bit of dandruff on their shoulders with the gray hair that's been around for a while. They're studying from January to whenever they play them about the Cincinnati Bengals. That's just.
I'm sorry. That is he's not paying attention to what actually happened. We went to Tennessee, who is the number 1 seed, beat them. We went to Kansas City and beat them. And that was not even with their offense as good as it's going to be this year. I know what he's saying. They got books on you, blah, blah, blah. Dude, we're even better than we were last year. I'm like, this is the same crap. They didn't give us a shot last year, Blake. Now he said, oh, it's a fluke. It's not a fluke when you go into their houses and beat them. It's not a fluke.
Well, the two things I'll say about that is, he's just saying things that can be true for every single team in the NFL, all 32 teams. He's saying, they had games that could swing either way. The Detroit Lions had games that could swing either way. Every team, that's what the NFL is. That's why you play the games. It's not, he's saying that, they had some games swing their way. Every single team that has won a Super Bowl in history has had games during the season that could have gone either way. Every single one of them. You can look down. You can go like playoff games, even the Super Bowl, any of it. You can look down and you'll find every single team where there's games where, maybe they did get lucky. Maybe it was a close game. It could have flipped. That's what football is. And then the other thing he's saying is, now they have film on them. Well, the Kansas City Chiefs went to the AFC Championship last year. How many years have they had film on Patrick Mahomes. It's been happening for years, and they still can't stop it. So I don't really understand. He's saying these things, but they just don't make any sense. They apply to every single team, and the Chiefs are, for example, are a team that have proven that all that you think these teams don't have film on Patrick Mahomes. He's been the best quarterback in the league for years. They have film on him, and it hasn't done anything. I mean, it did for the Bengals, but it's like all this stuff is just it doesn't really add up.
Well, just like Stranger says right here, he said, what did KC do? We swept them. It's not a fluke. I mean, so Kansas City played us in Cincinnati. We beat them. So they had film on us, like film that they actually saw live, and then went to Kansas City, and we still beat them. So, I mean, it's like, yeah, they got film. Okay, you're right. And you're exactly right. They're not saying anything. Of course, everybody's got film, dummy. That's what they're. I mean, I was literally talking to Darren Simmons yesterday in his office. What's he doing? Film study. So, and they're like, oh, yeah, that's a good point. Like, get out of here.
A fluke is not Joe Burrow, who's a top 5 quarterback, going into Arrowhead and beating another top 5 quarterback, being down 21-3. If you want to look at a fluke, look when Mike White had the best game of his life and beat the Bengals for the Jets. That is a fluke.
That's a fluke. Yes.
That is what you call a fluke. You don't call 2 good teams that are going, they have 2 elite quarterbacks, and they're playing, and one team gets down 21-3 and comes back. That's not a fluke. That's fluky games are when one team is much better than the other, and something crazy happens, like a Mike White comes out of nowhere and plays out of his mind. That is what a fluke is. It's not 2 great teams. You can't just call it a fluke. You could say, oh, it was a fluke that the Chiefs. I think it's more of a fluke that the Chiefs beat the Bills because of a coin flip than what happened for the Bengals.
Right. I mean, I'd say I think a fluke is a ball bounces a certain way, or you get a call. The dumb thing, he brings up the stupid freaking whistle in the Raiders game. Nobody heard. I think in the stadium, you were there too, or you're at the playoff game.
I was there.
We didn't hear the whistle. Joe. I mean, I thought they were replaying if Joe was out of bounds. Nobody heard a freaking whistle. It had nothing to do with the play whatsoever. It made no difference of the whistle. I mean, that's what he's throwing out there because that like. The stuff you're saying is so minuscule. It's not even relevant to what happened.
I can't really recall exact. It's been a while. I was there. People always bring up the whistle when going against the Bengals, but there was a lot going against the Bengals that game. I think what was the substitution, or they were giving them timeouts. Yes. I think is what it was. They were giving them. They let them have a timeout after the Bengals already had like a 30-yard play. They ended up calling that off and saying the Raiders called a timeout. And that happened like twice. I remember Hendrickson got a sack that got called back because of the timeout.
I remember now you're saying that. I remember because you got the anger is coming back to me when you're saying that. Like, oh, yeah, I remember that. I'm like, yes, because we're not getting anything. So they don't ever talk about those plays or anything. But the one is a freaking whistle where, sorry, Jackpot made a play, TB made a play, and we beat your ass. That's all it is. And that's the thing. It's kind of like what Darren Simmons said on my show yesterday. He goes, in those games, in the Tennessee game, in the Raiders game, the Bengals made every play. They made the plays. It's not they were given the plays. It's not that, a fluky ball bounced off somebody's helmet and went in the hands of a Bengal. No, they beat them. They made the plays. Eli Apple made the play in the second half or the first half in Kansas City to stop Tyreek Hill. If he doesn't make that play and they go up 3 touchdowns on us, that's a totally different game in that second half.
Yeah, I've never. I mean, obviously, I watched and went to most every game, and I don't really. There's not a single moment I'm going to point out that the Bengals got lucky here. They shouldn't have won this game. They got luck. There's only one moment in the whole season that I can say, okay, the Bengals got lucky, and it was week 1, Dalvin Cook with the fumble. I was in the stadium. I thought he was down and that the game was over. That is the only moment where I'm like, okay, the Bengals got lucky there. Other than that, none of that was a fluke. That's the only moment in my head that comes to mind where I'm like, okay, the Bengals got one. And it was week 1. So
yeah, that was the very first week, yeah. I mean, the thing is, you say we got in the Green Bay game that we lost. I mean, okay, we got lucky. He missed 5 field goals. Well, we didn't win the game. I mean, Shooter missed 2, which Dude, I still think that one went through, but anyway, it doesn't matter now.
That's the other thing he said, talking about how games can be switched the other way. The Packers game could have went the other way too. It's like stuff like that. It's like the Bengals had games that could have gone their way and didn't. I think if love Joe Mixon to death, but I think if he doesn't fumble in that Chargers game, the Bengals win that one as well.
Right? Yeah.
So
I mean,
it goes both ways.
Right, exactly. It goes both ways, and that's where and I hate giving Keyshawn any credit. I can't stand him at all. I can't stand most guys on ESPN because they're all just windbags and they just say dumb crap like this. They irritate everybody, but it worked. They got me to talk about it, and I hope nobody else watches them because I don't watch them. I just found this on. Actually, give a shout out to James Rapine. He's the one that brought it up first. But this is what irritates me about the national media, and this is what irritated me last year. Is they don't do any homework. I mean, they just say stuff, and they have no bearing or basis upon what they're saying. We just defunct everything Keyshawn Johnson said. He come on here, and we can do this live with him, and we can debate it with him that you don't know what you're talking about. And he has a national media job. I just wish these guys would actually do their homework. If they talk crap, at least have facts behind what you're talking about.
Yeah, and I think there's other, ways that you can. I don't know why you'd want to go out of your way to kind of bring down the Bengals, but there's better ways to go about it than that for sure. I mean, and I'd also like to hear somebody on Twitter say why they think the Bengals will regress without bringing up injuries. I don't think injuries are how can you count on that? And there's people saying the Bengals are going to regress because they were healthy last year. Who's to say they won't be again this year? And it's
Right.
I don't know about. I mean, I know of some ways of where you can kind of argue it and whatever, but it's like the things people are saying just don't make any sense, and it's like you can't bank on injuries for a team to regress. You can't say these games flip flop when that happens, and if it's not a blowout, that can literally any game in the NFL can go either way. So it's like I think they just need a little more. The good sign is it's that hard to go after the Bengals because they can't find anything real.
Right, exactly. And the thing is I heard listen to I think it was Locked on Bengals, and they had a guy on there for PFF talk about how the Bengals last year and they're right didn't have a perfect roster. Blake, right now they damn near have a perfect roster. I mean, there isn't. I mean, we're talking a backup 3-tech. We're worried about the secondary. I think we took care of that in the draft. We're worried about a fourth wide receiver, punt returner, kick returner. That's really it. I mean, Bengals right now, if they stay healthy, which that is a real thing to have to stay healthy, we got one of the most talented rosters in the league. I'll take it against anybody's.
Well, Jamar Chase was one of the best receivers in the league last year. Joe Burrow, I think, was an MVP candidate. Mixon was awesome. T. Higgins was awesome. All of that, and even Tyler Boyd, who didn't hit 1,000. I mean, he had a great season, but people don't talk about it because he didn't hit 1,000. The Bengals' weapons went off last year. Joe Burrow went off last year. Now, their only issue last year was they had two issues. The number one issue was the sacks.
Right.
Joe Burrow got sacked 70 times.
Mm-hmm.
They went off despite of that. So now that that's much better, now what do you think is going to happen? And the second issue, I think, was play calling. Now that the Bengals have a better offensive line, I think it opens up the playbook more, allows for, you don't have to be careful as much with the play calling. You can look at what
Right. Yes.
You can look at what your players can do, and because you don't have to worry about Joe Burrow running for his life, you can call out whatever you think is best for that situation. I think, at times I was hard on Zach Taylor last year about play calling, and I do think I was right at times about it. I think that sometimes it was frustrating, and decision making wasn't great. But at the same time, I do understand of his situation where, you can't just call something that you think will work. You have to take everything into account. And, really the only points, there's two times I can think of in the season where play calling was a huge problem, and I don't think the offensive line had any effect. And I think it was when the ball was out of Burrow's hands against the 49ers in overtime.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was when the Bengals ran the ball with P. Ryan right at Aaron Donald in the Super Bowl. But other than that, there's nothing really you can point to and you can be like, that is horrible play calling, without being like, okay, well, he's probably taken the offensive line into consideration here. So I think that now that they have a better offensive line, I think you're going to see better play calling from Zach Taylor.
I could agree with you more. That's what I've been saying, and I'm always on here defending Zach a lot and against the play calling stuff. And that's what I kept saying a lot last year. Is Zach, what you said? I'm like, last year he had to coach around, first of all, Joe Burrow's knee. He didn't know how Joe's knee would react, how he could move in the pocket or what he could do really until the bullets started flying. And he had the offensive line where they thought it would be a little better than it was, and it wasn't. I mean, they literally. I know Zach has come out and said this, but I can guarantee you they did not have a play for a 7-step drop. They couldn't do it last year. It just wasn't there. That part of the playbook they took out. So, I mean, he could take a 7-step drop. He could take a 6-step drop. There's so much things that could open up. So everybody who's complained about Zach Taylor's play calling, we're really going to be able to find out, is Zach Taylor a good play caller? I mean, for real. I mean, because there's going to be no reason for him to coach around anything right now. Let's like I said, unless we get injured. Hopefully, like Kappa's injured right now, but he should be fine. But that's the thing that I think is more exciting to me, is not only to see, there's three things, not only to see Joe Burrow not get killed 70 times, see Joe Mixon be able to run behind the best offensive line he's ever ran behind in the NFL, see Zach Taylor be able to play call behind the best weapons and the best line he's had since he's been the Bengals head coach. I'm really excited about that. And those are the things that we didn't get last year and still went to the Super Bowl. And like Darren Simmons said yesterday on my show, it's not going to be easy. I'm not on here saying, oh, we're going to blow everybody out or anything, which I didn't think we were going to do that last year. I did pick us 11-6 last year. I got a little lucky on stuff. But the thing is, it's hard. No matter what team you are, it's hard to win in the NFL. But if you got that quarterback and you got that offensive line, you get the weapons that we have an advantage that everybody else doesn't have. So I'm very excited to see how that looks. Because like you said, the offense went off last year, but it didn't go off consistently. Like if you really look at the playoffs, they really didn't go off. I mean, the playoffs was the defense. That's what got us to the Super Bowl, was our defense. I mean, the offense made enough plays, but they didn't really go off in the playoffs. If they had actually gone off, I think we would have won the Super Bowl. This year, I think they can consistently go off because of that offensive line.
Yeah, and I think if I were to be arguing, towards Bengals regression, which I'm not, because they fixed their biggest weakness.
Right.
But if I were, the thing I would be pointing at is their pass rushing. I think that if something were to happen where Trey Hendrickson were to miss time, I think that's crippling for their pass rushing. But if I were to argue back against that, we don't know what Joseph Osai is yet.
I'm excited to see him.
I think he's going to be incredible. And they got a lot of young guys in there. BJ Hill, who they just signed back, I think he's going to be good. I think they have a decent pass rush. I would have liked to see maybe a little bit more. I think Zachary Carter is going to be pretty decent.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So I think, they have good defensive backs. They have good linebackers. The pass rushes, and they can stop the run. Obviously, DJ Reader is incredible. But
yes,
I think pass rush is the only thing on the defense where I'm a little iffy about. But, we know what Trey Hendrickson is. He's very good. And if he's going to stay on the field this year, you're going to get a little bit of production out of Sam Hubbard. Hopefully, Osai is as good as I think he can be. I think Cam Sample takes the leap this year. I think he, I got
a question for you, Blake. I got a question for you about Cam Sample. Do you see Cam jumping inside a little bit more this year than he did last year because Osai is going to be there and because they need somebody else on the inside?
I think he'll move into 5 tech a little bit, or just kind of, bounce around in there and just kind of. Mm-hmm. I don't really think we'll ever see him at 3 tech. I don't think. It depends really on injuries. I think if it depends what happens. I think they'd rather have Zachary Carter playing in there. But I do think Cam Sample is going to play. He's going to move around. Oh, yeah. And I think that I don't know where I'm really getting this from. I don't think we're going to see like a big sack year out of him. I think he's going to be pressured. I think he's going to put a lot of pressures up. I don't know how.
You're talking about Osai.
Cam Sample.
Oh, Cam Sample. Sorry. Okay, Cam Sample. Gotcha.
I don't think Sample's going to have many sacks, but I think he's going to get a lot of pressures. I think he's going to open it up for other guys on the defensive line. I think it's just kind of, I think he's going to have, consistently good PFF grades, pressures. I just think he's going to have a really good year. And, you talked about Osai. I think that the good thing is, or the bad thing is, you don't have a lot of proven guys that you can rotate in there, but you have a lot of guys with potential that you can rotate in there. Guys like Osai, Sample, Kareem, Carter, these guys, they're not proven, so we don't know exactly what we're going to get. But, they could have a breakout season. You can have, 3 or 4 guys coming off the edge that are playing really good football.
Right. And what's exciting about that is that's what we had when Mike Zimmer was the defense coordinator. We had that rotation of guys coming in off the bench, coming off the edge. And that's what we were hoping to have last year, but it didn't work out as good because Osai got hurt. But now we got Osai, we got Sample, we got Henderson and Hubbard, and Carter's gonna be on the inside. But still, we got lots of guys that they could rotate. And one thing I told DJ Reader that this week at practice that we on NFL Network they had the Tennessee playoff game again, and I rewatched it, and I forgot how dominating DJ Reader was in that game. He shut down Henry. I mean, DJ Reader was in Henry's shorts, dude. I mean, that was the most dominating performance I've seen of DJ all year. So, I mean, if we can get that on a consistent basis, but I mean, if you got that along with the stuff we got coming from the outside, our defense, I think it's going to be even better. And I think Eli Apple, I know people are down on him. They're calling him burnt, or what do they call him, bad apple or applesauce, whatever they call him. I really think Eli Apple is going to even improve even more this year than he did last year. I just have a feeling that he's really comfortable where he is, and he's just going to make a leap. I think he finally found himself a home, because I heard him on Cincinnati podcast where he basically says, I wasn't going anywhere. I wanted to come back to Cincinnati. That's why he took another 1-year deal. And to me, that help. I think that's going to help him out in his confidence, in his technique and everything. If you're comfortable where you're at and you like the guys you're playing with and you like the coaching staff, he had a career year last year. I think he's going to improve upon it.
Yeah, Eli Apple, I think he's gonna be solid again. I was hoping they would kind of have him in this. And this is no disrespect to Eli Apple, but if you're getting the quality of play he had last year, which he was pretty good, if you had that, kind of in a rotation, you can get Cam Taylor-Britt in there, kind of have Eli Apple coming in as the 4th corner, which if he's 4th, he's still going to play. I think he deserves to be on the field. But if you had that quality of play as your 4th corner, that's great. Eli Apple is a good player. And, back what you said about DJ Reader, I think I'm pretty good at being objective about how I talk about some of these players.
I'm not. I'll admit it. I'm not good at it at all. I'm a Bengals fan. Go ahead,
yeah, I think I'm pretty objective on talking about. I mean, I know I talk about how good Joe Burrow is a lot, but I think I'm good about putting any of that aside when I'm talking about a player. So I'm going to say DJ Reader is the best nose tackle in football. I've been looking, at grades. I've been watching him, looking at the stats, and I wouldn't just say that out of nowhere. I truly think he's the best nose tackle in the NFL. And,
I agree.
And so I think, the Bengals are very lucky to have someone like that, especially in the AFC North, going against like Najee Harris, Nick Chubb. The Ravens have a lot of guys running. They're going to be going against Tennessee with Derrick Henry. DJ Reader's incredible. And then you also have Sam Hubbard, who's really good at defending the run.
Yes.
That helps a lot. Logan Wilson is I'd put him probably top 15 linebacker in the league.
Dude, honestly, Logan Wilson last year, if he didn't get hurt, I think he would have had a shot at a Pro Bowl last year. The way he was playing in the year, huh?
He was going to be Super Bowl MVP if the Bengals won that game.
Yeah. Well, they don't call the stupid flag. Anyway, sorry.
I think if the Bengals stop him there, Logan Wilson's the Super Bowl MVP if they don't call that flag.
But you didn't call it the whole time, Blake.
It was bad.
My God, it pisses me off.
And then also you have Jermaine Pratt, who took a big leap last season. He's been playing really well. Hakeem Davis-Gaither will be back.
Yes.
He's more coverage, but he's just more linebackers. He's a good linebacker, so I think we'll see a little bit more from him this year. And you had some injuries at linebacker last year, and you get those guys back. So I think overall the Bengals are going to be really good at defending the run. Von Bell's another guy who's good at it. So I think Mike Hilton, forgot him. So all in all, I think they're going to be good at stopping the run. They got some good DBs. I think the only question is that they're able to get to the passer.
Yeah. Now, and the thing is, too, we haven't even discussed the two rookies we got, Dax Hill and Cam Britt-Taylor. And again, I was watching practice. Cam Britt-Taylor made a freaking one-handed catch in practice, and I'm like, ooh! I'm like, that looks good. Him and Dax, dude. I think our secondary as a combination, as long as this includes Jesse Bates, and I'm planning on Jesse Bates being here for the season. I think our secondary has the chance to be the best the best secondary in the league, just because of the speed we got and the versatility that we had with Dax Hill, Jesse Bates, Von Bell, Eli, Cheetah Bay, Cam Britt-Taylor, all these guys. These guys can play multiple positions within that secondary.
Yeah, so Cam Taylor-Britt, for personal reasons, I haven't been that excited about a draft pick since Keem Davis-Gaither. Davis Gaither I talked about for months.
Right.
And Cam Taylor-Britt, I think I posted a tweet about him right after a week after the Super Bowl.
Your man crush.
I wanted him to be with the Bengals. I thought it fit really well. He's an athlete. I talked about him a lot. Like any mock draft, I put him in there. I was posting clips, and then probably 2 weeks before the draft, I tweeted something about how he'd be great fit, or the Bengals could really use him, and then they ended up getting him in the second round, and that was awesome. It's just a good feeling when you talk about someone like that. You hype them up, then they go to the team you're covering.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
That was pretty exciting.
Just the peek behind the curtain. I'm this close, I think, to getting his mom and maybe Cam on my show here next month. I hope. She said she was busy, and she said she said I'll try to get on next month, and she goes she's like, well, how about we do a tag team, me and Cam? I'm like, absolutely. Yes, I would love to have both of you on. And I didn't reach out to her just to get Cam. I really wanted her on the show too. But if I get both of them on, that would be awesome. Anyway, so I'll have to tell you when the show is so you can watch. Maybe I'll let you come. You can co-host with me.
I'll have a couple guest questions.
There you go.
But the thing that really sticks out about him is when I'm watching him, he just wants to hit people. It's like if you watch it, he's just running around looking for someone to hit.
Yes.
And I love that. He's really good in zone coverage. Man coverage, he's not as good in zone, but he's still capable. And then, he's just a crazy athlete. You saw his 4D. You've seen the videos of him jumping. And then also he was just a fan favorite at Nebraska. They had it. I think it was Mo Egger that had his college position coach on.
Yeah,
1530, and he's saying great kid, all that stuff. So I just think it's a great draft pick. I think he's going to be really good.
I mean, I love the clips I heard of the interview when he got drafted. How excited he was to be a Bengal, and how he loves the competition, and he can't wait to have a race between Jamar Chase, him, and T. Higgins to see who's the fastest. He's like, let's go. I'll compete in anything. Those are the kind of guys you want on your team to compete at everything. They'll compete at dominoes, checkers. They'll compete at eat faster, whatever. They want to compete at everything. That's the guys you want on your team. And Haas pointed out there too. We can't forget about Trey Flowers. So Trey Flowers.
Oh, that was
I was very, very happy that they signed him.
I saw that, and I was thinking about the other Trey Flowers, the defensive end.
No.
But Trey Flowers, he's very good at guarding tight ends. Him and Stanley Morgan, I think I posted a tweet there, my two most underrated Bengals signings of the year, or re-signings. Stanley Morgan is an elite special teams player.
So is Trey Flowers.
Trey Flowers covers
again,
tight ends.
Not to interrupt you, but to watching the Tennessee game again, Trey Flowers was on 2 punts, I think. So the first one down there to make the tackle. And again, you're watching the game, you forget stuff. You rewatch it, like, oh yeah, I forgot that. But yeah, Trey Flowers is good on the special teams as well. Go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, I was just saying, he's a good special teamer, covers tight ends well. I think getting both of those guys back is huge. And then, I don't know why this comes to mind, but I saw a video on YouTube. I think it was last night when Mike Thomas was flying down and hitting the Dolphins returners. That was awesome. I mean, at the time, I was like, okay, maybe chilled out, but that was awesome. It was like
I tell him that. I tell you that's 2 years ago. I told him that at practice. Like, dude, I want you to hit somebody like you did the Dolphins again. Go down there and hit somebody.
He didn't care if they had the ball or not. He just full speed laying them out. It was awesome.
It was great. I loved it. Jeff Anderson here. This is a good question for you, Blake. He said, I think Taylor Britt could be moved to safety the way he hits people. Add 20 pounds. He's perfect. What's your thoughts on moving him to safety eventually?
He could be, but I want to say absolutely not. For two reasons. One is I think he's going to be a Pro Bowl caliber corner eventually. And the second, and you want those guys that are that level to be at more premium positions. He is right that he can move to safety, but you also got to think they have Von Bell, Jesse Bates this season. They just drafted Dax Hill in the first round, who's great. I really love Tyson Anderson. They took in the 5th round,
right?
So I don't think there's a need to move him to safety, but he could play safety if that were to be.
Yeah, I mean that's something that it won't happen this year, but maybe it's something in the future if we need, we don't sign Jesse Bates and they don't keep Von Bell, and that could happen. But as of this year, like I said, I'm focused on this year as much as I can because, like I said, unfortunately, I think Jesse Bates, this will be his last year with the Bengals, which sucks, but it is what it is. But I can't wait to see what Lou Anarumo does with this defense because I gave him crap for 2 years. I called him Armadillo because I didn't understand what he was trying to do. I'm like, what are you trying to do? Like last year, I listened to a podcast or something of his, and he was explaining, I guess, what he was trying to do. And then I kind of looked at the talent he had, the talent they added. I'm like, okay, you're trying to do like the amoeba defense, the Morphe defense. Basically, whatever that team does well, I'm going to take that away from you. And it doesn't matter. You can change it from week to week, which I keep bringing this example up. The perfect example is the 2 playoff runs or 2 playoff games, the road ones in Tennessee, and then next week in Kansas City. Tennessee, we weren't going to let them run on us. We're going to make Tannehill throw the ball. The next week, we weren't going to let Patrick stand there and pick us apart. We let him stand back there, but everybody's going to be covered, and he had to either run or make a decision. And Patrick Mahomes couldn't make the decisions. I still remember to this day the one where he's standing there, and finally Sam Hubbard is like, all right, screw it. All right. He went in there and he tackled him, fumbled it. I mean, look, for Kansas City, lucky they got the ball back, but Patrick could not find anybody open, and he couldn't make the decision to run for some silly reason, which I'm glad he didn't. But to me, that's the example of what Lou Anarumo and this defense does best, and they did it really well last year, and I think they're going to do it even better this year.
So that's why I have a little faith in Zach Taylor being able to call better when he has a better offensive line.
Right.
But Lou Anarumo didn't have anything.
No.
Those first couple years. He had Dunlap and
Well,
Gino.
it wasn't even that. He had guys who didn't buy into what he wanted them to do. That's another problem he had.
Yeah, he had like Dunlap and Gino who were, coming towards the end of their careers. Getting older, didn't really have much at linebacker. Like Nick Vigil is the only one I can think of right now. Corners weren't great. William Jackson was about it, and even sometimes he was a little. He was a good corner. And then at safety, this was before Jesse Bates really took off, so it's like he didn't really have anything to deal with, and it was like it looked like a lot of times he was playing prevent defense in the second quarter. And it was
that's what I thought he was doing. I was like, you're just preventing them to score later. That's it.
Yeah, but I was like, at the same time, it's like you're not going to get to the quarterback with what you have.
Right.
You can't put Drake or Patrick one-on-one with elite receivers, so it's like there's really not much you can do. I mean, I think the zone defense or the prevent defense was a little much, but it was like. They weren't really getting torched. They just were getting beat down, beat slowly.
It was cut by a thousand knives or 1,000 cuts or whatever it was. Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It was pain, and they can never cover the tight end. That's why I love Trey Flowers so much because he can cover the tight end. Now this is one I'm gonna give up from Stranger here, and this is what I've kind of said too. He said I heard an idea on a podcast. You might have heard it here because I've said it. Chris Evans as the number 4 wide receiver. What do you think? I think I wouldn't say he would be actually slotted as the number 4 wide receiver, but he will be an option that they can use. If he's option A, I don't know, but I really do think, and I hope that they use Chris Evans and in the slot, out wide, bubble screen stuff, because I think there's a lot of stuff that they just scratched the surface on now. And we all remember the Detroit game. That's where I think we just scratched the surface of what we can do with him. And again, with the offensive line being better, Chris Evans doesn't have to be in there to block all the time. He can actually go out and catch passes and stuff. So I think there's a very good chance Chris Evans is going to get to be more. We're going to get more use out of him this year than we did last year.
Yeah, I think that's something you can try. I personally would have him above Samaje Perine in the depth chart running back.
Right.
But I think they like Samaje Perine a lot. So I think they'll have him there. So you can move him around a little bit. So I don't think it's something I would rule out. I do think he's going to be very talented out of the backfield as a receiver eventually. So hopefully they can use a little bit more of that.
Now, this one's catching me off guard here. Rally around the natty says, you like soggy French fries?
That's
it's Centauri.
That was when nothing was happening one day, and I posted my list of what I did. I posted my list of like French fry, or no, I defended Chick-fil-A fries. That's what I did, and they all said that the Chick-fil-A fries are salty, and I said that they are the best.
For me, if we're talking fries, I always go between two of them. It's either Rally's or Arby's. To me, those are the two best fries. They're kind of similar, I think. One's curly, one's straight, but those are the best fries for me, anyway.
I think if a McDonald's makes them just right, then those are really. But they have to be, good salt, freshly made, all that. Then they're really good. But you don't get that very often.
Yeah, it depends on which McDonald's you go to anymore. I mean, some of them get good service. Some of them, they're the people who work there give two craps less if you're there or not. Right. You're like we're bothering them. Like, I'm sorry, I'm asking you to do your job. My bad. See, he said he's been around for 30 seconds. Shows already off the rails. I said Tori, always trying to screw stuff up. All right, so we do have an injury that we really didn't get to talk about too much. And it's not. I don't think it's a big injury. It's Alex Kappa. It's a core. From what I found out, it's core muscle injury. Zach said a couple weeks. That's very vague. I mean, a couple weeks could be the rest of OTAs. A couple weeks could be, he's back at the end of next week. I don't know. And it's not a big deal right now. To me, it's the bigger deal to get him healthy so he's ready for training camp and ready for the season. Have you heard anything else about Alex Kappa?
No, and if it makes anyone feel any better, it's like I covered the team and I saw it and I just kept scrolling. It's not much of anything. He's just I think he'll take a couple weeks off. It's just May, so that's plenty of time. He's gonna be all right. I don't think it's very serious. He'll just take a little time off like he needs, and then he'll be back whenever.
Yeah,
he'll be back long before.
That's where I'm at. I've barely even talked about it, to be honest. Because to be honest, the funny thing is, I was at practice, and they'll walk by, and the offensive linemen are way over there on the other side, so I can't always see them. So I don't always know who's out there when it comes to those guys, unless I see him walk out to practice or walk back. And I was going home. That's why I found out he didn't. People were telling me, "Oh, he didn't go to practice." I'm like, "He didn't?" I'm like, oh, I believe you. I don't remember I saw him out there or not. I was still in Ted Karras and I tweeted out a picture. He's like, because I'm like, "Yeah, you guys look really small from up on the bridge." He's like, "You can't see us." I'm like, "Well, I can, but you're about this big." So I tweeted him out a picture. So I'm doing this. So hopefully Ted will come on my show. He keeps saying he's going to. We'll see what happens. Anyway, so let's put it this way. What's the thing you're most excited about? I know we talked about the offensive line and Zach's play calling, and Chris, what's a diamond in the rough guy that you're excited to see what he's got?
Talked about it a little. I think Akeem Davis-Gaither, coming around his third season, missed a lot of time with injury last year. I think it'll be, if he can stay healthy, it'll be nice to see him, not a rookie anymore, full go, healthy. Right. That'll be really nice to see. Tyson Anderson, I know obviously, Dax Hill and Taylor Britt I'm very excited about, but yeah, I'm really interested about Tyson Anderson, really good athlete. I'd like to see him get some snaps this year. And I'm hoping I don't butcher this name, but I've seen some clips of Abu Dermi Soiree. They got him from Germany.
That sounds good to me. I'll let you go with that.
Yeah,
You did pretty good there.
he was really good. He's a really good athlete, good punt returner in Germany, and played for Colgate. Had some issues, with like COVID and everything. He struggled to keep the football career going, but he went over to Germany, played punt returner. So I think I'm pretty excited to see what he can do. I know they didn't have him out there with the punt returners the other day, but I think I'd like to see if maybe he'd be able to crack the roster and get some shots at punt returning.
There you go.
Yeah, I've seen some things I like.
Yeah, the one that I'm excited to see, and I'm really pulling for the kid. And I'm a little biased because he came on my show, but Delonte Hood. If you guys have not seen the interview I did with him last week, I mean, this kid was on the streets for 3 years, and he literally was living in train stations, subway stations, bus stations, and still going to school. And he's got himself all the way to an NFL camp, and his best shot obviously is going to be special teams, punt return, stuff like that. And he's fast as hell. He's a great kid. He's the type of player, again, that you want on this team. And the character that he has is, like Zach always says, it's getting the right people in the building. And he's as right as they get as far as his attitude, his demeanor, what he brings. He and Darren Simmons kind of said this too. He said that once guys realize, you're not going to beat Chase, you're not going to beat out T. Higgins, you're not going to beat out, you're not going to beat the starters out. You got to try and go make your mark at special teams. And I think Delonte Hood already knows that. And Darren was saying that's a step in the right direction. And so that's a kid I'm really rooting for, and I'm hoping he gets a shot at punt returning or kick returning because I'd like to see what he can do because he's already been a gunner in college and punt returning. So that's the diamond in the rough that I'm rooting for, and I hope he makes the team. And we'll see what happens. Yeah, One Nation's homelessness. From homelessness to home, the jungle store. What is it? Yeah, he said homelessness. What do you say? Homelessness to greatness. That's what he goes by. So it was a really cool interview. I don't know if you got to check it out, Blake, but that's a guy that I'm rooting for. So let's see. We got some people here asking about the tight ends. And Rabbit here says, I'm worried a little about the tight end group. Our tight ends are very tightish. What's your thoughts on the tight ends there?
I'm trying to think. So Hayden Hurst, I think, is going to be pretty solid. We know what Drew Sample is. He's a capable blocker.
Oh, you got Thad.
What is it?
Thad Moss. Can't forget that Thad.
Yeah.
I'm a Thad guy. I like Thad.
Oh, I like him. I think he's awesome, but I don't. I think a lot of people think he's, going to be like Randy Moss a little bit.
I know he's not like Randy. Dude, I just want to see if they can even come close to what they had at LSU. What they had at LSU was awesome, a great connection, and it's in. I hate the SEC, but it was in the SEC, so there was something there. But Thad's got to stay healthy. That's been his problem.
Yeah, and then, I think the fact that he was an undrafted free agent, he's had injury issues, and they've kept him around. I think that tells a lot about that they think eventually Thad will be able to maybe contribute a little bit. But my issues really with depth, I guess, because I think Hurst is solid, but if something were to happen to Hurst, I think Drew Sample is a good player. I think he's a good blocker. He can move around a little bit, but I don't think he's going to be I don't think he can step in as a downfield tight end if something were to happen to Hurst. So I think that's my issue. I do think Hurst is solid, and I think Sample's going to be a good blocker. But other than that, I think they could have used a little bit more depth as out of a pass catching tight end.
Yeah, I think it's what people have to realize is there's still a chance that we could pick somebody up before the season starts. Because I always say we picked up B.J. Hill right before the season started last year. So, and the Bengals are in a better position to make trades and are willing to make trades now more than they ever had before. So, we'll see it happen. But I do agree that I would like them to get a better backup. Drew Sample's fine, but like you said, if Hurst goes down, we're kind of in trouble. We don't really have another target there. I mean, so I agree with that. I mean, who knows? Maybe Thad can, but I mean, Thad's got, like I said, I keep talking about Thad, but he's got to stay healthy. And two, for him to make the team, he's got to be able to play on special teams, and that's one of the reasons that he hasn't made it or didn't make it last year. So we'll see what happens. Haas says, get the tight end from Dallas from Michigan. You know which tight end he's talking about? Because I don't know.
Not off the top of my head.
Yeah, I'm not sure you're talking about there, Haas. Anyway, Blake, you've been on for about 50 minutes. I appreciate you coming on. Tell everybody about your podcast. Tell them about your articles you write for All Bengals and everything else. Anything else you want to plug?
Yes, you can find anything I write. All Bengals. Taking a little break, but hoping to have some stuff here soon. And then Bengals Report, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, coming to YouTube soon. I'm at 40 subscribers on YouTube right now. I need to get to 50 before I can start doing these live streams. So 10 of you could go ahead and subscribe so I can start getting that going. I'd appreciate it. Other than that, that's about all I got.
Awesome, man. Go check him out. And hey, he has a DB coming soon to a podcast near you. All right, Blake. Appreciate you, man. Hooday.
Yep. Have a good one.
You too, buddy. All right, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed that as much as I did. Blake's a great guy. Go check him out on his Bengals Report podcast. Go check him out on All Bengals. He knows what he's talking about. He's definitely less biased than I am. I will give him that. I always say, like I said, I'll put him on here. I always say, I look at everything through my orange-colored sunglasses. So when you have these on, it's really hard not to see things the Bengals way. I try to be objective, but they're my favorite team, man. I got to defend them. So anyway, let's get to the Facebook groups that let me live stream in. As always, I appreciate every single one of them. They're Houday Nation, Houday Legion, Cincinnati Reds, riding third, heading for home, Bearcat Rockets, Bearcat Country, the Ohio State Bucknuts, the Ice Bar, and you can follow me on all my social media platforms, all under Sports with Strawberry Ice on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. Twitter handle is at Jeff A. Trunapole. TikTok is at Iceman90. I did pull off the sound for the Darren Simmons interview. It's on the podcast. I should pull this one off too. So if you guys missed any of my interview with Blake or Darren, go check it out. It's on the podcast, on BeanPod, Apple, iTunes, Spotify, Google, Stitcher Play, pretty much wherever you get your podcast. Please make sure you rate, like, and review. Give me a 5-star review. I would greatly appreciate it. Make sure you guys hit the subscription button on the YouTube channel, hit the thumbs up, hit the subscription on the podcast. Every time I post something, you get it sent directly to your phone, computer, wherever you are at. And like I said, stay tuned to the channel. I had a really cool interview I did earlier today with Felipe Torres. Now, I've been doing some stuff. I've been getting opportunities to do some interviews with some entertainment guys here. I had Doc on a couple earlier this week with my brother. I have Felipe on today. And it's not sports, but I think it's a really interesting interview. He talks about Red Hot Chili Peppers, Nine Inch Nails. We talk about some Led Zeppelin, different bands he's played on. So go check that out. It's on the channel. I put it up there earlier today. And like I said, I'm working hard for you. I'm hoping Ted Karras comes on. Ted calls me ice. So that's a good sign. Eli said he'd come on. Mike Hilton said he'd come on. You know, I've been talking about Evan McPherson for a year. He said he'd come on, and I haven't heard from him yet. So I'm still working hard for you guys, trying to get these guys on. But like I said, just make sure you stay tuned right here to Sports Strawberry Ice, especially tomorrow. Because tomorrow I have the great Bronson Arroyo. He'll be on my show live tomorrow at 5:30. So make sure you do not miss that one. It's going to be fun. He said he'd give me an hour. So it should be a good time. Anyway, other than that, you guys have a great evening. It's almost the weekend. It's almost Memorial Day weekend. Next week, I'm going out of town. So I'm not sure how many shows. I mean, if the Bengals want to do some interviews, I might record something. So stay tuned to the channel. Like I said, I'm not sure how many shows I'm going to do next week or anything like that. But anyway, other than that, say it with me, people. That's just sports, baby. See ya!
Let's go. Orange in the day, black in the night. Stripes in our veins, sparks gonna fly. The beast is awake, orange, black, and white. Cause when the jungle come alive, Houday, we ignite and Cincinnati, we gon' rise and in the jungle, we unite and dripping orange and black and white. Cincinnati, we gon' rise in in the jungle, we unite in dripping orange and black and white. All day when we fight, live and die in these stripes. Now who gotta move like it on? Now who wanna move closing on? Now who wanna move on? If you got stripes and you let the city know you rock 'em, yeah we got 'em, yeah we fought 'em like that black and orange Apollo.